Right, I think what we do now is we swap over, and believe it or not, I'm not even going to give a diss. LTA final was actually very fucking entertaining to watch. And by the way, it's funny. One of the areas I've often been the person who pushed back against is anytime NA gets good teams, right? Well, we all know they don't actually believe they can do anything at Worlds, so they don't talk shit on Worlds. They always just go, we'd beat EU, because to NA, we just live rent free in these motherfuckers' heads because of the track record so one sided over the years. Like they have to do stuff like, yeah, but we placed higher even though we didn't play you, which is like, here's the medal. Here's that medal for placing higher than world. Still coming fifth, but here's your medal for worlds, guys. Right? Joke is, EU actually has like silver medals from worlds. Fuckface. But this final, I actually think not only was it good, it wasn't good just like a clown fiesta. These teams actually played some pretty good League of Legends too, mate. Like one thing, let's start with actually the loser first. Let's start with Cloud9. Because one thing I want to ask you is this, right? Am I just being biased when I say this? But I genuinely think, Yamato, if I think of Cloud9, right, last year, I actually think it was a very shrewd move to bring in Thanatos. Yes, the problem people had was it didn't add the shot calling that the team needed. But in my opinion, as you see now, this is a player that can be in this team for years, mate. It just looks like a very solid, like the baseline level of play this guy brings is very impressive for me. One of the best like players, imports to a Western region I've ever seen, even though he hasn't won the championship yet. Then you go and look elsewhere. Coming into this year, obviously it's a massive deal to let Jojo go and bring in the Loki guy. Like that's not a player that everyone like knew would be good. Looks like it's worked awesome. But if you bring in two Korean solo laners that are super strong, and your issue used to be shot calling, my obvious assumption should be, well, that's not going to fix it. Like, where's all the macro going to come from? Bro, people are going to think it's just because I know it's Dom. But if people don't know, Dom is like the analyst of this team, along with obviously their coach staff, etc. I feel like that's actually an area that's mad underrated. It's not just Hans in this team. I do think they've gotten way better in that regard. Look, I actually think that's why it's fair they lose to FlyQuest. FlyQuest is probably the best at that aspect now. But Cloud9, I do think they've improved like how they play the map, how they play out comps, etc. Like, don't you think like it's not just a Hans team, right?
I do think in terms of how fast they play, it's super impressive. I feel like NA as a region is very, very in tune with the in-between. It's like the in-between of the setup of the objectives. That's where opportunities find themselves in terms of how waves are set up, and also if you actually have grubs and leverage that. That's something I don't see too much in EU. On the other hand, they are very, very fast at understanding when they need to overload. And I think C9 found so many dive opportunities that were really, really good. It was like that very disappointing game where they like dove and they gave 4 kills. But the opportunity that presented itself off of the play is what is crucial to me. I do think that the implementation of Loki and Thanatos is like mechanically we knew they would be good, but things are working for the C9 team. In this particular alteration, the fact that they could bring in Sven to add the voice, Blabber as well, a player that is also experienced. The fact that they could put in Sven as the ADC and him after, I think he played decent on Dignitas, but that team didn't accomplish shit. The fact that Sven arguably was like the best player.
Oh, he was pretty good in this final. Yeah, for real.
Is nuts. Is really, really crazy.
When you think about this, mate, there's a world where he never comes back to ADC. Like, this guy's doing it as ADC as well. Like, this is just an all-time great player. Remember, he came up after Reckless, and he's still playing at, like, a very competitive level. Yeah, for sure.
And he's doing it against a player that is Masu. It's like Masu is insane. He's a very, very strong player in the AD carry position. The year Masu had as a rookie is one of the most impressive rookie runs we've seen across many regions. It's like North American PaYS to some degree. Coincidentally, he smoked PaYS in that BO5 against Genji that made them so competitive. Yes. And I think C9 as a team, the way that it ended was so damn disappointing, right? It's like we saw how Blabber tried to find the angles on a Caitlyn that had no flash. It came out now, comms-wise, that I believe this is something that like the team called for. It's not something that you can only blame Blabber for, but it's just it's so typical, you know? It's so typical because they had the full setup on the Dragon. And this is something that I know that every coach fights with. It's like fighting on the mid wave is one of the most cursed things that you can do. You just need to play in your setup, invite the enemy into your fortress. Don't stick your head out of your bunker to let the enemy just snipe you. You know, it's just, that's not just something that you want to do. I know that the whole C9 coaching staff was looking at Dom's reactions like, no, what are we doing? Why are we engaging the mid wave? We have full control over Drake. It's our soul. That game was so heartbreaking. I feel like both series that C9 played was so damn close.
Well, they could have won both of these series. Like they really could have been the winner. I thought both. If you like this final, go watch the upper bracket game they had. It was also a fucking banger too.
It was just. It seemed like the main difference was the maturity of the rosters, right? I think that FlyQuest as a team is like, this is the only team that has stuck together out of any team globally. Like every team has made changes, whether it was G2, Bilibili, T1, all your classics, Genji, all teams made changes. FlyQuest didn't. And I think that this team just in these moments, I did feel like experience kind of edged out, because there was some crucial moments that you don't find yourself in practice. You don't find yourselves in those situations, in scrims. And I do think that FlyQuest being together for a longer period really, really mattered here. But with C9, what they have as a foundation, there's no world where these guys can't catch up. Like they have a very, very solid ground. And to think that they can only send one team to MSI,
I wish I could
really
see
blows.
the C9 team there. I think it would make the tournament so much better. I don't know who's going to, I don't know. I don't follow the South region, so I can't comment on them. I'm not Peter Dunn, but Cloud9 surely is better. Come on. Must be.
No. I watched some of the Furia games, and I can say without a doubt the C9 is better. It's like Furia is exciting in the sense that I can just add as a small segue, because I did to take the time to watch. Is like It's a team with only Brazilian players in a world that is like riddled with like imports, with names like Trimby and former like LCK players and all the teams. Like they won against a team with two imports, like an import mid lane and so forth. And Furia is coming in with with a couple of rookie players that actually like mechanically look exciting. They kind of like, if there was any parallel, I do think they look like what a top Vietnamese team could look like in terms of just being able to team fight and being able to play. I would say that their jungler Tattoo is the guy who impressed me the most, because he has like that range of play in terms of being able to play carries and also being able to understand how to play some of the tankier junglers. So even though I think Furia is going there to the tournament to get slaughtered, I do think that, as a team, they are fundamentally super interesting to watch. I think they can, have some team fights win. But back to the initial point, for sure, sending C9 to this tournament would have been like better in terms of just competition. But I think that the Brazil fans are also aware of this. Like they didn't want to make this change just because they would have access to an international tournament. They wanted to keep their storylines. They wanted to keep, the feuds within the region, because they knew at MSI or at any international, they would, in a lot of cases, get, a little bit disappointed. So this trade-off, like we mentioned, MSI being a good format, we are back to some of, the pain points of format makings across the board.
If you look at this final, right, the two games C9 won, they were fucking stomping. And then the last two games of the series that FlyQuest has to win out are two of the closest games you will ever see. Like those two games are just neck and neck. So it's why I agree with you. This is one of those times where when you finish second, you can't be satisfied. Like you look at that and you're like, fuck, we could have won this. Like we really could have. We just lost twice to these guys. And then this one, I think, was the harshest loss of all. In fact, you even look in that game 4, early on, you think C9's just going to get the win, mate. They're just going to actually follow up, and it's just going to be FlyQuest living off game 1. So brutal for C9, brutal. I have to say it is harsh, because I do think they've been very good this year.
It was so damn close. I have to say, on FlyQuest side, it's like Bwipo, in terms of his performance, like we already mentioned, like him getting all pro is crazy talk. Like Bwipo was taking risks that was so damn unnecessary. Like that Cho'Gath game, the fact that game was even close at all. I think that Busio and Bwipo, they were making some crazy mistakes in this series that removes FlyQuest from this identity of being insanely disciplined as a team and being willing to like unleash the aggression of Bwipo at the times that call for it. I got game 2 that C9 won. It was like mostly just Busio getting caught on Nami by every Maokai ult while standing behind Lucian. That just happened like 4 or 5 times in a row, and C9 got all the traction in the game through that in a world where like Yon is playing against Annie, which should be a tough matchup. There was some mistakes here from Busio and Bwipo that made this series, swing in C9's favor in a lot of cases. And looking at what FlyQuest bring to MSI, I don't think this is the same version of FlyQuest that beat Team Liquid in the fashion that they did and went to the World Championship. Like, this is not the FlyQuest that I would say would have instantly an upper hand against the likes of Koi, because obviously everyone wants to hear like the EU-NA conversation, but it's like, I can see a world where Koi beats these guys, because FlyQuest is coming into this tournament with a lot of flaws, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the difference is the actual flaw of their game has been way low. Think how many times they've lost like randy-ass series this year, especially regular season type ones where it's not as important, or like early on. Oh, it's crazy. Like they haven't shown the consistency at all. The difference is they've clutched it out. I'll give them credit in that sense. Yeah, they clutched out in these series. Even the thing with Bwipo, I know what you mean. When I see those all pro, or whenever FlyQuest wins and I see every Bwipo fan in the comments, I'm like, what reality do you live in? Like, he's barely getting through some of these fucking series, boys. Like, that's why I do think it's so crazy. He then would even have the gall to be telling people he's going to teach them how to play the game. Teach yourself, motherfucker. Like the famous saying, like, physician, heal thyself. Like, what's going on with you, mate? Like, your game's randy as fuck. Like, also, by the way, I don't know if you saw this, but Mithy is so classy. It's funny. It's so, you know this guy a bit. It's so weird to me because as a person, first of all, as a competitor, he was a mega like harsh competitor to his teammates, to opposition. But also, he's the sort of guy where privately he talk mad shit on everyone. I've always told people though, he doesn't do it like egotistically. He does it like, oh, they're all just trash. Like, oh, that EU player, who gives a fuck? They're nothing compared to the Koreans or whatever. He like that. But as a coach, he's always put this like perfect PR look onto everything of like, sorry guys, I lost. Like, oh, great performance by the opposition. But I know deep down inside that burning ember of competition still exists. So he did a tweet, right? And even though it's the perfect time, Yamato, to be a toxic little Western shit and just flex on the guy who fired you, because he's on his own Tarpey arc, isn't he? Where he was obviously like removed from Cloud9 after all those finals, and then he's gone over to FlyQuest to be a coach there. This would be the ultimate moment to be like, how do you like me now or something, right? But he didn't. Instead, he did the classy one. He goes, that was another crazy close series. Super proud of everyone's hard work and dedication this split. Always fun to play against the boys at C9 LoL. So all I did was, I just took that and I just said on Twitter, translation, LOL, another split lifting the trophy when C9 watches. How you like me now? And I would have put Jack. How you like me now, Jack? Listen, if you're Mithy, he's won all the fucking splits since then. He's fucking smurfed it. That's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool storyline.
No, definitely. I think it just was put in a better role. I think
they bring him in. Nukeduck's so smart. Think about it. Nukeduck has that like confident personality to enforce the changes. Whereas this way, you just let Mithy's brain do the work. Yeah,
for sure. It's like someone asked me the other day. It's like, what is the difference between like an analyst and a coach? And I said, it's like the coach is usually just socially capable.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like that's just the difference. It's like both have the knowledge and so forth, but it's like the translation of that knowledge is the skill set usually like the head coach should carry. And Mithy, we had so many stories of like how he was like blunt about situations and how he wanted to communicate things his way, which I respect. I respect it a lot, because his reason behind why he does it is completely sound. It's like, yeah, we need to be rational, because if we're irrational, we're not going to plan appropriately because we're not looking at the details for what they are. It's like, oh, this bot lane is better than my bot lane, so we need to prepare with that in mind, which is fair play, fair play. It's like in terms of how you massage that message and get it out of certain players, is always very different because players are very unique and some are very, very fragile. It's like you can have that in mind and still massage that narrative into a player in a different way, the same way, like for example, with Vitality. It's like my bot lane was weaker than most bot lanes. So I made them play champions that nobody else played. Like we played Caitlyn, we played Draven, just because I wanted them to have an edge in the matchup and a matchup knowledge. But I didn't tell them, you guys are worse, so we're gonna play different shit, But that's just the Mithy way, and you gotta love him for it. And I think on this team, what the impact he had on Busio is so clear. Even though this series Busio was kind of an intel, but I'm sure Mithy as a person is gonna fucking tell him. Mithy's gonna review that shit, and he's going to make sure that Busio gets his shit together. And I think the Mithy storyline is simply incredible. I did see. I thought when you brought up the tweet, I thought you're going to say the tweet he left under the Zen post, where he just said Zen was like the best player of the series, which I thought was pretty.
So remember, that was his boy back in the day, the best in the West bot lane. True, there is that part. But then again, that's what, if anything, doesn't that highlight how insane Sven is? Mithy's onto a whole second career that he's now had for like half a decade. Sven's still playing now. He's still playing now and really good.
Oh, it's
that's nuts.
Oh, Sven is such a underrated player in terms of what his career is.
I always tell people, mate, if you actually show someone his resume, he is insanely underrated. Like, this guy has a resume that is like comparable to like the Recklesses of the world, like the best Westerners ever. His resume, like, you want to talk resume, top 5 resume ever from the West. Unbelievable resume.
Yeah. I was like, the main pain point for him is just like the internationals again. It's like he had that one finals, I believe, with G2, right, and at MSI.
We had the OG semis.
Which it's like you beat Flash Fools, I remember those, but it is a semi for sure.
Listen, TSM didn't fucking beat him, did they? Boom, chance to roast TSM after all these years. There you go, keep going.
True. But in terms of his regional record, it's like every team he's been on has been a top 2 or top 1.
Well, if you look it up, I'll actually do this. I feel like at this point in time, the most of this guy's career was just in the finals every fucking split. Like, it's outrageous how many finals he's been in Yamato across both regions. Like 1 million. It's nuts, isn't it?
It's like people, like, there was a stat that was showcased on the broadcast. It was like Sven's win ratio in game 4 and 5s. And the total of games was like 60. I was like, he has played 60 game 4 and 5s? That's a crazy number of game 4, 5s to even have played. The win ratio was like 60 something, right? Because of like G2 era. And then there's been like memes about his like game 5 because of like the TSM Ezreal moment. But in terms of being relevant for so damn long in eras where AD carries were like insane. It's like when he came into Europe, this was like one of the peaks of Reckless. This was like Forgiven era. Like Sven was the ADC at the point in time. It's like, sure, the finals was lost, but that was a series that went to 5 games against one of like top 3 rosters in European history. This was like the Huni reign over fucking Reckless roster in 2015 summer. And that was fucking his first split. Like, Sven's career is extremely underrated, and the reason I wanted to bring up like his international, the reason I wanted to bring up like the international performance is because I think in terms of having the conversation of who is like the GOAT ADC, it's weird because both Reckless and Sven went to the support position, but as a support also, like Sven had way more success than Reckless. Arguably, of course, Reckless went to T1, so it's hard to compare.
He didn't go to T1. You're wrong. He went to T1 Challenger. I'll never let anyone say that. Because we all when you say T1, it sounds like you're in the real team, mate. No, he went to T1 Challenger, which is nothing. Okay. Which is literally nothing. Sorry, it's true. It's true.
It is true. But the GOAT conversation of ADC, I feel like you probably have like a better, you're better in tune with it. It's like the Reckless versus Sven conversation.
The EU is amazing. The reason why the EU GOAT conversation for ADC is amazing is because you actually have these people where you have basically like 4 names probably deserve to be in there. And the problem is 2 of them have never won the championship for giving an upset. That's just body of work, dominant style. Reckless and Sven have a bazillion championships and finals, but then the question becomes, were you the man in the final? How were you playing at the time? Were you ever carried? So it's actually quite interesting because I actually think if you look, like, it's why I actually do think it's just a preference one. You just pick, I probably would take Reckless overall. Depends if we're talking all of history. It's pretty good. If Upset can put some championships up, we can maybe change that convoy. He hasn't done it yet, though. It's just true. He has underperformed in the playoffs. I think Sven's more in the middle for me. I never felt like he was like bad in these runs. He wasn't as much as a support, obviously. But I do think like as an ADC, there's been times when he was the best. I thought even in OG he was very good, actually, considering he had God solo laners. But there's been times also where sometimes it's mid laners that are the carry and he's like the one that's just good, The key thing is I was looking up there, just from quickly counting up and doing it on that. It looks like he's been in 12 domestic finals. 12! That, for like, as I said, for like a 10-year period, that's what, true, some of those are support, but even that's crazy, because as you say, as a support, he was winning championships as a support too. Like, this guy's ridiculous. By the way, a bazillion international performances. It's also why I feel sad for him. He doesn't get to go to MSI. I feel like he earned it this time. This would be kind of a cool storyline for him. If there was the 2 spots and he got the second one, that would be dope, but sadly gets punished because there's only 1 fucking spot, and FlyQuest's in the region too. And Team Liquid, that's another bummer, by the way. The fact that you got now 3 teams that are interesting. 100 Thieves, now this split wasn't really anything, but 3 teams on paper in Team Liquid, Cloud9 and FlyQuest, and you have 1 spot they're competing for. That's just kind of whack. And I just feel like over time, that's just going to make people invest less in the squads, because you can't just beat the squads that are getting nothing out of it and just coming third and then not going to MSI, just sitting back at home. You're just going to spend less. You're just going to spend less. See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.